Good evening. This is the September 9th, 2025 open public meeting of the Needham Library Board of Trustees, being held via hybrid format, allowing for remote attendance. First, I will take a roll call to confirm that trustees, library staff, and persons anticipated to be on the agenda are present and can hear me. For trustees, K. Hill.
Here.
Gerhard Grafe.
Here.
J.P. Alcott.
Here.
Michael O'Neill.
Here.
Megan Small.
Here.
Joshua Small.
Here.
And myself, Rob Pettit. For library staff, we have Assistant Library Director Diana Fendley.
Here.
Program Specialist Gay Ellen Dennett.
Here.
And Recording Secretary Faith Chrisley.
Here.
This meeting is being recorded. If there is a problem that prevents the completion of the meeting, we will reconvene at 7 p.m. on October 14th, 2025. I hereby call this meeting of the Needham Board of Library Trustees to order at 7:05 p.m. For public comments, citizens are welcome to speak for up to 3 minutes each, not to exceed a total of 10 minutes. Citizens are encouraged to inform the library director in advance of their intention to speak. Those who provide advice or advance notice will be called upon first. While the board will take public comments under advisement, there may be no opportunity for discussion or debate during this portion of the meeting. With that, we'll turn to our agenda for the meeting. Do not see any public comments. Do we have any comments in the chat?
No. No attendees at the moment.
Okay. The first item of business then are the minutes from the August 12th, 2025 meeting. In order to discuss those, we will need a motion and a second.
Motion to accept the minutes for August 12th.
Second. All right, so we'll open that up for discussion.
My only thing is that I was here, I had to put my name into the present column because I attended by remotely.
Okay. All right, any further comments to the August minutes? All right, well, thank you, Faith. We can bring that to a vote. And since we're all here, we do not need to do a roll call. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. That brings us to the director's report, and I'll pass it over to Diana for that.
Great, thank you very much for having me here. This past August has been a very busy month with summer reading, with getting ready for construction, and we've done a lot. So we can start with the children's department. We had 1,060 children registered for the summer reading program.
Wow.
That's our record so far. So it's been very busy. So collectively, kids read 758,276 minutes, also equivalent to 12,637.93 hours of 526.53 days, or 17.55 months, or about a year and a half worth of reading. So if we convert that to miles, it would circumnavigate the globe over 30 times. So we read it that many times. The Elliott School won the reading trophy with an average of 13.83 hours read per student. And Elliott students read 107,900 minutes, about 75 days. So well done, Elliott School. And I think the trophy was handed to them as well.
Congrats to Elliott.
Yes. And we had a very good closing event for the summer reading program. John Higby, the yo-yo guy, he excited and entertained children with all kinds of amazing yo-yo tricks and a demonstration of unusual yo-yos from all over the world. He rode a giant yo-yo and demonstrated, and after the program, he let children try various yo-yos. Then he taught them simple tricks and posed for photographs. After the performance, children were able to make dragon masks and create a flying dragon craft. We had 103 people in attendance for that final program. Even though summer reading has ended, the children's room is still very busy with young patrons. All story time programs have had high attendance, and Paula has vetted 2 new dogs for our Read to Dog program. So, very
If you
excited.
need any volunteers to help vet the dogs,
Yes.
happy to do it.
Sounds good. We'll put you down. Paula's also arranged to start a new program called Zumbini. So it's Zumba for mini people, which features music, movement, and cognitive exercises, and a new Spanish story time, both starting in September. So that's a lot of things happening in the children's department.
Is Zumbini for preschoolers? Is that what it is?
I'm not sure, but I think there's a combination of Zumba and for. And then the technical service department, phase 1 shifting was completed. It was all hands on deck, all different departments and staff involved in the CD collection and DVD collection and with the audiobook collection to prepare for the shifting of the CD collection and the forward shifting of the audiobooks in order to clear the shelving of the CD shelves and the last low shelf on the left side before fiction for removal for the tall shelves from the young adult fiction were brought down as replacements. So there's a lot of domino effects to make sure that we can have our final results where things will fit down on the ground floor. You'll see different shifts right now. The CD collection is now in the back. We want to move forward the large print collection so that folks can access that more easily, easily access the collection. So CD collection is, as well as the word language and nonfiction DVDs were moved to the outside wall in the back. And then adult graphic novels were weeded and then moved to the first floor instead of being on the second floor. And new items where the large print and nonfiction new items used to be. The new graphic novels are now located in the new section. And finally, you'll notice that the puzzle collection that used to be where now the construction site is, now has moved to the first floor. And the board games moved to the shelving adjacent to the stairs nearest to the gallery. So the technical services department did a lot of moving this past summer. Another exciting thing that's happening from technical service department is we've established some community partners. They had a meeting, Tamara, the head of technical services, and Karen from circulation. They met with Stephanie Knock, the new program manager of the Dementia Care Partners Support, working for the Needham Community Council, as well as Jessica Moss. She's the social worker from the Council on Aging. And then Virginia Machons Lopez, she's the Needham town of Needham public health nurse. And Jen Gangadaran from Needham Public Health Division, and Christina Kozak, she's from the Needham Youth and Family Services. They all met to finalize the details for the monthly Memory Cafe, a new program that we'll be facilitating here at the library. In observance of Rosh Hashanah holiday from September 22nd through the 24th, the first meeting will be held on Thursday, September 25 at 10:30, and subsequent months, the memory cafes will be held on the 4th Tuesday of each month. And Andy and Mimi in technical services have been working hard on updating series in fiction, so making it easier for staff and patrons to alike to be able to find the next group in the series they're reading. So sometimes folks like, what's the next one on the list? Now it's easily labeled as part of the series. And then all technical service staff are training on processing and catalog magazines. So they're all cross-trained on how to process the cataloging and distribution of the magazines in the library, continuing to ensure that everyone in the department knows how to handle everything that we do, so there are no gaps for patron access to the materials. So that's what's happening in technical services.
Can I ask a quick question about like the weeding and integration process?
Yeah.
A friend of mine asked me this and I didn't know what to tell him.
Yeah.
I know that like everything's kind of been like intermixed, like mysteries and science fiction fantasy have all been intermixed into the general population
Fiction,
fiction.
yes.
How has that been publicized to people? Because he didn't know that that happened when he came here. He's like, I can't find any mysteries.
Yes. Yes. We did include it in the library notes a couple of
Mhm.
times, a couple of editions. We also had signs on the shelves.
There's
itself.
signage there.
Yeah.
So, and then we did have a sign when we still had the plexiglass barrier
Yeah.
at the circulation desk. We also put signs there. It's like, oh, do you need help finding something? So we did have a few ways of notifying patrons. So twice we added that in the library notes newsletter. Does that help?
Yeah,
And
I
was
just find
that
it's like,
largely space savings, or was there another idea? What was the?
It's more trying to grow the collection in a way that is more cohesive. If we section science fiction separately or mystery separately, then we're limited to that space itself. Then every time that section or that collection grows, then we have to read the other collection. If we integrate all fiction, mystery, science fiction as one collection, within that whole collection, it can grow. And there are authors that often do write across genres, so they can find new surprises or new findings
Oh,
within
okay.
that author. So those are a few of the reasons why.
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Have you taken, with regard to the moving of the CDs, has that led to a substantial weeding out of the number of CDs, or is that going to be substantially equivalent in terms of the number? Or have we taken advantage of this move to think that maybe that we don't need as much space for CDs as we used to? I'm not sure.
Yeah, we did do a weeding to determine CD collections that haven't circulated in a few years. So we did look at the collection to see what was still relevant and current. And so
Was there a substantial reduction or it's not that much? I'm just
I
curious.
don't know the numbers, but I think it's appropriate to how the trends of the CD
Yeah.
collection is right now. I think it was, I think there were several pages. I don't know exactly in the quantity, but it wasn't a surprise in terms of
Yeah.
what the age of the collection is as well. And now people are also,
Is that the same with audiobooks too? Would that be a similar?
yeah, I
Yeah.
think people are shifting to
Yeah.
more, electronic collection. So. But there's still some surprise that people still check out this particular
Right.
audiobook, this particular music CD. So there's still some gems in there as well.
Mhm.
Other questions? Did that answer it? Was that helpful with the
Yeah.
promotion?
Thank you.
In terms of the technology and archives department, Danielle has created a comprehensive spreadsheet detailing the contents of archives, including the type of agreement and link to paperwork, such as deed, deposit, library owned or created, etc. And the scope of the collection, the donor, when the collections were donated. We are, as you know, we are getting ready to make this part of our action plan this coming year to kind of reassess what needs to be cataloged, what needs to be kept. So Danielle starting with that particular list.
Just a quick question. Do you know, will Danielle be working, I assume a fair amount of the archives is sort of historical materials, right? From about Needham. And so we do have a history, Grace, Gloria Grace is the town historian at the Needham History Center. She has incredibly deep knowledge about Needham, and I'm just wondering where she's going to be looped in some ways before we start throwing out stuff.
Yeah. We last year or earlier this year, we did connect with them to see if we can share resources and see what they have and what we have, make sure there's no redundancy. With that specifically, I'm not sure that that's something, but that's a really good idea. I'll make sure that that's something that is done before we move forward. We're also going to hire a consultant,
Oh, yes.
in addition to consulting this local historian, so, but that's an absolutely good idea to make sure that the local historian is also involved and aware. Yeah.
Thank you.
Um, And then the second task that Danielle has been working is assessing the local history and genealogy collection for reading, curation, and arrangement. This will be a long-term project taking place over the year. So the archives, local history, genealogy is going to get some assessment and attention to it. Danielle has set up new self-check iPads with MeScan kiosk hardware. There are 2 counter height ones in the children's and the circulation departments, and then 2 standing height ones in open holes and opposite the second floor elevator. There will be a counter height one set up in the new teen room when it opens. So I don't know if you've had a chance to look at these new self-checkouts. They're very
super fast.
sleek.
Yeah,
Yeah,
They are just iPads and just very sleek and just not like, I think the previous one was larger and a little clunky, and these look very sleek and easy to use, so. hopefully you
one
had-
brief personal observation that I had, and I brought it up to the circulation folks when I was there. Because of the height of that desk, just at the main circulation desk,
Yeah,
it's very low. It
Yeah.
should be probably put on something 6 inches up, so you
yeah,
can like actually reach underneath it easier.
um,
Just like physically using it's a little hard.
yeah. I think we were trying to make sure that there's some that are different level of accessibility.
Yeah, but I think that
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 one's
one
really
there, is-
low.
I mean, that, even that's at wheelchair height, like
Yeah.
right now, it's just the physical way that the iPad is set up. There's
Mhm.
only 2 inches underneath it, and it's just like a little awkward putting things in.
I see. And is it because of the shape of the iPad?
It's because of the shape of the stand
I
itself.
see,
Like,
okay.
yeah,
Because the
I mean-
previous one was the same.
no,
counter.
because the previous one, the scanner was up here, so you can put it underneath the
I see,
scanner.
okay.
The scanner on this is way down here.
All right, we'll take a look at that.
Yeah,
We'll take a
like
look.
as a, but it's really, really
Nice.
fast.
I'm glad you were able to
Yeah.
try it, yes. Hopefully the rest of you get to try it too. So there's also, yeah, so there's one at the circulation desk and one in where you pick up your folds, and then in the children's room, and then the new tea room will also have it. Very exciting. Town IT has managed to merge the Minuteman switches and the town switches. This will allow us to continue with our server migration. Danielle is starting to test the stability of the internet connection and ensure connection with Sierra, and is rolling out the changes to all pieces of library technology. So this is another project that she's been working on to make sure that if somehow we have a power outage, all that patron data is on the accounts. Good. Yeah. Any other questions on the technology or archives? And then in the reference department, they also held a summer reading program. Their end of summer party success. It was a successful end of summer party for both adult and teen iterations. Fidelity Bank in Needham was once again able to provide the library with the use of their ice cream truck for our end of summer celebration. Erin was able to secure the truck for the middle of August, and we saw over 260 people throughout the 2 hours the truck was there. As well at the ice cream truck, and we had lots of
I
kids,
missed it this year.
a lot of people come in. They're very excited to get ice cream, to pick up various summer reading prizes and so on. So it's a lot of fun. The collection move and storage is 100% done. Furniture movement plans were well implemented as well. So lots of moving furniture, and the collection move is now done in Um, Lots of movement on the second floor just in the last month or so. In the circulation department, they launched a circulation department weekly update for their own department.
Mhm.
It's a fun, informative newsletter to keep circulation department staff updated on important developments. So Deborah sends out a weekly kind of semi-newsletter for her department to share, like this week, these are the things that are happening. So it's been really fun to see that newsletter. And they also made a lot of headway with reading and withdrawing the audiovisual to accommodate moving collections. So that is the report from all the departments. The Minuteman mobile app, on August 27th, there was an update from Phil McNulty, who is the executive director of the Minuteman Library Network. There were several fixes and improvements to the app.
Oh,
I
good.
hope you've tried it since it's been updated. I think the main thing is the developers have worked on improving its performance and stability. They've also included some changes meant to address the issues of unexpected logouts when you put in your card number and then the next day it asks for it again. So that has been fixed. Other noteworthy fixes, the app will now remember and autofill the patron's library card number and username used to log in, making it easier to log back in after the patron logs out of their session has expired. The feature saves the most recent barcode or username used to log in. The patron still needs to enter their password, but at least it doesn't log out the whole library card number. The format buttons in the search results were yellow and on white, making them hard to see. And now the format button color is changed to blue. And then the search reading history, users can now search their saved reading history in the app, just like the website. On a personal note too, I've tried it and it's significantly faster.
The loading
say
time is
so.
an issue.
Yeah,
It
in
has-
that.
hasn't been the
loading.
case for
Oh,
you?
God,
Oh,
no. It's so slow.
yeah,
Now, have you tried the new one?
Uh-huh.
it's still
I have the
slow.
most updated, like as of yesterday,
Yeah.
the updated downloads.
'Cause I just did
It's
it and it
search
was
is slow,
faster.
the search
Oh, it is
doesn't work.
for you, well,
It's faster than it was.
it was
for me.
before, yeah, not the fastest, but it's, yeah,
Like,
so-
I have a brand new iPhone. It's
yeah,
terrible. It's not your fault. but,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully they'll keep working on that, but
But it's-
I think it's some of the other issues, like the barcode login, that's kept, and that was also a frustrating issue where every time you log in the next day, you have to put in your card number again.
Mhm.
When I tried it after the update, it was faster than a few days later. It kept changing, but there was a noticeable change to how fast it uploaded from the previous one. Maybe it's not the fastest, but I saw some change to it.
It's a work in progress.
Yes,
Shall we say.
yes. It is a sleek, I guess the interface is sleeker than the previous one.
Yeah, it's cleaner looking.
Yes, yes. So they'll continue to improve the mobile app. Any questions on the app? Any further questions before we move on to personnel? All right. Elliot Fumonte, our part-time children's reference librarian, whose weekly story time is one of our most successful offerings, has resigned. I know, to take a full-time position at another public library. So his last day will be Friday, October 3rd. Because his programs were very popular with.
Can I just make one comment?
Yeah.
Because I know over the next year or whatever, there's going to be a staffing study. We've had conversations in the past about part-time versus full-time. I'm just wondering if you might want to keep track of talent from our library who works part-time and has left us to take a full-time position somewhere else. That might be a useful statistic down the road for that conversation.
Thank you, yeah. And our next staff development day will be held on Friday, September 19th. The library will be closed that day, but staff will be in the building, learning, exploring new things, and gathering together that day.
So occasionally, trustees have attended some portion or piece of a staff development day. So, I think that's a good thing, not necessarily for this one, if,
Yeah.
if that's not part of the plan.
Breakfast portion.
Right, and so, just keeping that in mind as we go forward, because it is nice for us to have a chance to
Yeah,
meet and mingle with staff.
yeah. I will note that. And then in August, Jackie Bateman attended Digipalooza 2025, and that is Overdrive's biannual partner conference in Cleveland, Ohio. So all the librarians and folks that are involved in ordering audiobooks, ebooks, and content through Overdrive meet at this conference basis. So from that conference, she's working on implementing tips she learned in order to improve Needham patrons' experience and access to our digital collections in Libby. And since the August meeting of the trustees on August 13th, Rob attended a Budget 101 training by the town's finance department, the first in a series of budget trainings for department managers. On August 21st, Rob met with a reporter from the Needham channel about the Teen Room project. We held a meeting with the Needham Poet Laureate on August 27th, met with Sarah Sujijian. She's the executive director of the Massachusetts Library System on August 29th, and gave her a tour of the library and the Teen Room project. And on September 4th, attended a Budget 102 training by the town's finance department. Personnel reports. Any other questions before we move on to the Teen Room expansion? Right. So right after Labor Day, construction started on Tuesday, September the 2nd. The workday starts at 6 a.m. and ends at 2:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. As you may see, and as mentioned earlier, the construction wall is in place. And during the week of September 8th, later this week, demolition will begin and initial electrical and mechanical make-safe work will occur. Had a chance to look on the second floor. The project renderings and the floor plans are posted on the gallery wall. So the renderings, floor plan, the patron FAQ are on the library's website under NFPL renovations page. Printed copies of the patron FAQs are also available at service desks. The patron FAQ was included in the August 22nd edition of the News for Needham. We also sent out a separate library notes edition as well. We've had weekly project meetings with the architect, the general contractor, the OPM, and library administration. Those have begun. Library staff have been given access to Headspace this past last week. It's a wellness app. And the town's ITS department produced a map of walking trails around the library for staff. So it tells you the trails and how long and the distance, as well as how long it will take to complete these trails. RTS has located a dumpster in the Highland Avenue parking lot to collect metal for recycling. Furniture has been relocated. Other surplus furniture will be put on municipal bid. And Erin is in the middle of planning offsite programming for teens.
May I ask, how's the experience been? For staff, for patrons, what are you hearing?
So far, it's been very smooth. I think the second, I think the first day of September 2nd, it was just, they were starting and the wall wasn't built yet. And then the second day it started, but they had these prefab panels, so it was really quick. And we, for patrons that we've seen regularly, we let them know that this was happening. So we've had no surprises. It's been, staff are excited to see like what's been happening. They see big changes happen. So far it's been going well, based on what I'm hearing so far. So it's been the walls up there, and that's a big change. And we've moved the tables, and the teens are using the space. Adults are also,
So where are the teens going? Are they just sort of?
they're
I know
on
they're-
that bridge, so we moved some of the tables onto that bridge, and we moved some other furniture down here. So in the afternoon, the teens are occupying that bridge, and the overflow is in this room here from 2:30 to 5. But we haven't had anybody brought any issues or concern. They're just like, oh, they're just seeing what it is. They're reading stuff that's on the walls. So that's been my observation so far.
It's great.
All right.
And the adult patrons are finding plenty of space to be where, do what they need
Yeah,
to do.
I mean, we tried our best to make sure whatever seating was available prior to the construction, we were trying to relocate that so we didn't displace too many seating. So we moved things around to make sure there are other spots. So for example, one of the, a few of those leather seats were relocated to the end to more like the glass wall, for example. So, and then there's another one in the corner. So I think we've just spread it out. And then as you enter from the entrance there, you'll see a lot of seating there as well. So, and people have been just using the spaces even though it's more close together. But people are just, they're using it, we haven't heard anything.
I think you've done a great job just kind of sharing information, the frequently asked questions, stuff that came with the town's newsletter, all the information about it. I think it's been a really nice job in terms of explaining to the community what's going on with that.
And it's nice to see those large pictures where the art exhibits used to be. And
Yeah,
it looks nice to have them there, but also when people have questions about that big wall, they can just look right over there.
yeah,
So
it's a nice visual.
Yes.
To see what the future will be like over in that space.
Is it at all possible to, I know that the contractor has something where you can't have anything on the walls, but would it be kind of helpful not only to have them on the walls where they are, but also on some of the space of the just blank wood? Just so when
Construction
people
wall?
live on the construction wall, so as people walk by, is that a possibility? That that same kind of thing can be put there, so people can kind of connect the dots a little quicker.
It is possible, we can ask them.
Yeah.
If that's something that we could have as well, we can ask. What we did was ask the architects to provide us, I think that's the large rendering, so
Right.
that's something I think, but we also, yeah, we would have to ask.
Yeah, 'cause I
Yeah,
know
there might
that-
be more drawings they
Yeah.
have of different aspects
Yeah.
of the project
Yeah.
that could go up. Perhaps.
And that would be helpful to the patrons just coming in and the kids coming in, because I think they get it, but they really don't, because I'll ask them when I'm here. I said, do you understand that we're building as a teen area? And they're kind of like, really? So there's something in that messaging that needs to somehow connect that with them, if they're gonna kind of have some feeling of ownership.
Okay, so next is financial reports, which we have. This past month, what has been spent to date is 16% of our budget for salaries. And for books, periodicals, audiovisuals, and databases, we have expended 14.8%. And then other expenses expended 52.7%.
And what is the status of the kind of preparation for the next budget year? Where are we in that cycle?
So those trainings, the budget 101, budget
Yep.
102, that's exactly to get us ready for that.
Mhm.
We are just haven't started yet, but it's coming up soon. So that's on the calendar.
Training,
Yeah.
getting ready to move for
Yes,
for next year.
And for the DEIB staff efforts, the reference department had 2 programs on women authors. For their display, we had diverse titles included in team display promoting the Massachusetts Teen Choice Book Awards. In the children's department, for programs, we had 2 sensory story times and 1 Chinese story time. And in technical services, we selected DEIB occurrences and titles added to the physical collections in August 2025 are the following collections attached. Report.
Can I ask a question? Usually we get a state aid report, a library, trust fund report, and month-to-month statistical report. I didn't see those in my email.
Right.
Yeah.
That-
Question.
Just we'll catch up with that next month.
Perhaps, yeah, I don't know if there was some snafu in terms of exporting those.
Yeah. So I will follow up with Rob when he returns to find out about the state aid report, trust fund report.
And the month-to-month statistical report.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonder if they were cut off somehow, perhaps in the email.
But usually in the past, there was at least 10 or 12 attachments. in the
Yeah.
document. So I'll follow up with him and see.
Diana, I think it may be
Oh,
a
yes.
case of we have not had Jenna from, I think she's the one who usually pulls those together.
Yeah,
That may be why they're not here. this
Uh-huh.
month.
it could be, but
Yeah, I'll
I
let you
think,
check,
yeah,
but yeah.
I mean, yeah, Jenna has been away and is returning tomorrow. So we'll follow up on those particular reports that typically are sent with the packet, and I'm not sure.
Okay. Thank you.
I think the report is done. Not sure what else quickly.
So I think we can, was there anything else for the director's report?
That was it as far as I know.
Okay, any further questions on that before we move on to new business? All right, in that case, first discussion item is a draft of the children's room policy. I'll turn it over to Diana for that.
Sure. So the draft has been shared with all of you. And it was suggested a while ago, it would be nice to have the reason why we're updating the policy. So we've outlined 4 bullet points here. We want to define for whom and for which purpose the children's room is dedicated. We want to outline that active browsing of the children's collection by all patrons is allowed. We want to outline parameters for those attending children's programs and outline parameters for the consumption of food and beverages. So, the new children's room policy draft reads as follow. The children's room is the dedicated space within the Needham Free Public Library for children from birth through grade 6 and their caregivers. It is a safe space for reading, playing, socializing, and attending programs. Patrons of all ages are able to actively browse the children's collection. Patrons not accompanying a child and not actively browsing the children's collection will be asked to relocate to a different area of the library. Library staff work to offer diverse programs to meet the needs of children of all ages. Children and their caregivers are welcome to attend programs. Patrons not accompanying a child are not allowed to attend children's programs. Covered drinks are allowed in the children's room. Snacks and other foods are allowed in the craft or snack room. The story time room and the craft snack room are for library use only. Then we have our reference to all the other applicable policies at the bottom there.
So we had a completely different draft of this like 4 months ago. So is there any more information you can give on that? Because I had worked on it and it was the Safe Children policy or whatever we were calling it.
Yeah.
It was only through age 10 and then it was going to be like children 10 and above were free to be here. So it seems like we're adding tweens to the children's room. Now it's through grade 6, which is a couple of grades above age 10.
I think there's slightly different policies though.
Yeah,
Are
that's,
they?
yeah,
Yeah,
I
this is the
thought we had
policy
a
for the
so-
children's room itself,
Okay.
safe
Okay.
as
child.
opposed to the safe child policy, which is referenced to it.
Okay,
The safe chat policy has been
Yeah, we approved.
Yeah.
and that was
Okay.
different.
Mhm.
That applies
Okay.
to anywhere in the building.
Got
So
it,
if
okay.
like there's an unattended child in other
Okay.
places, how would we, what was the
Alright.
policy on that?
I
This
thought this
one,
was replacement.
yeah, yeah,
so-
the words are very,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
I should have first started with that. But this one specifically applies to the children's room.
Okay.
Does that, yeah,
But it also seems a bit redundant because I think we said, because I will go back and look at the Safe Children, but I thought it said in there that you couldn't browse the children's collection without a child. I think so.
It's just
Checking.
not now.
Because a
Okay.
grandparent comes in,
Was
wants to.
it in the
become-
old
can
one
actively
then,
It
maybe?
might have been in the old one and
That was
also
the
might
old,
have
we
been
got rid of it because of
subsidized.
like all kinds of concerns about.
Yeah, okay.
So
Got it.
I'm tempted not to mention this because it would require me to give away one of my library secrets. But at the same time, I don't want to intentionally violate the policy. When I come to the library on Saturdays, I frequently look through the new releases and I find a book, and some books I want to read in the library, but I don't really want to take home. So I'll find a nice spot to read the book. And for those who know the library well, I can tell you the most comfortable spot in the library is that soft rocker in the children's area,
Mhm.
where I will on occasion go sit and comfortably read a book, and it looks like technically that would force me to get evicted from the area, because I'm not a comfortable child.
Yes,
So
that is.
I'm gonna have to recruit some children.
We'll
anytime
have
I
to
come
get
the
a
library.
rocker in a different area of the library,
Right.
a nice
Yeah,
comfortable.
yeah, you get some, once they, like the stage 4 redesign, where they redesign the stack, you'll get your comfortable rocker.
Move that chair, you know, where
Yeah.
all of us can
Chair.
enjoy it.
Let's make sure we get this in the minutes, because it's
Right.
important for the accountability for elected officials.
Janie's chair.
I really liked,
How about rockers recommended for stage 4?
I really liked the clarity of the policy for the most part. I appreciated the distinction between actively browsing and attending programs, and how that, had slightly different policies, which I appreciated. The only question I had about it was that was a little unclear to me was in the last paragraph before the italicized bit. It says the story time room and craft snack room are for library use only. Now, I assume we mean that no one can rent that out.
Correct.
What?
Yes, that is.
Okay, could we just say that?
Yeah, I
Because,
had the same
because
comments.
the sentence before that says snacks and other foods are allowed in the craft snack room, and then the sentence right after it where it says are for library use only makes me feel like I can't
Right.
eat like snacks with my kids in there.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
didn't,
it's
I
a
didn't
little-
understand what that sentence was referring to either.
I would make it a separate paragraph, guys. And then you have your, that solves it.
Maybe, yeah. Anyway, that was the bit that was
Yeah.
unclear. to
Yeah,
me.
that's,
Yeah.
that
There
is
should be a way to
unclear what
clarify
it-
that.
what the point
Yeah.
of that sentence.
We went back
is
and
supposed
forth.
to be.
To deciding whether or not to spell out, like, oh, it's not, it's not available for rent. So we.
Or even
I'm gonna
use
say for
by,
library programming. As opposed to library use.
Yeah,
maybe cannot be reserved for by organization. I don't know. I'm
Can't
not sure
reserve it for your
exactly what they're
birthday
trying to
party
get at.
for your
What?
child.
You can,
Right.
you
Well, we
can
don't want
reserve
You
it.
can't.
You
So that's
cannot.
yeah, that's the.
Yeah, so
frustrating
I
thing.
think that needs to be a little more clear, like
Okay.
what people
Mhm.
can and can't do there. And I also
That's what
have
didn't matter.
a point.
We're gonna use that room, but yeah.
So I know that in our safe child policy, we do make very clear that parents and caregivers are responsible, are the responsible parties for monitoring their children safety. I really wonder if the children's room policy should kind of reiterate that as it's a standalone policy. If somebody reads this, it doesn't really say anything at all about appropriate behavior or who is responsible. We do want to make it clear that it's the parent or the caregivers who are responsible for their children's safety, behavior, and what activities they're doing. And I just feel like, since some people might read this and think that this is the whole policy, it just seems like some reference to that it's the parent's responsibility to keep an eye on their kids, basically. I don't know if others feel like we need to have it in here, or just seems it's lacking in anything about that issue.
I suppose, we have this sort of italic paragraph at the end where we cross-reference those policies, but don't, aside from the names of the policies, we don't describe what the content of them is. Given that there is a pretty big link here between this policy and some of these others, especially the Safe Child policy, could we maybe bulk that paragraph up and unitalicize it and say, parents are responsible for children caregivers are responsible for children under age 10. For more information, see the Safe Child policy, or something to give a little bit the reader a better idea of what these policies are that we are cross-referencing. Like, if you're looking for the rules about what you have to do as a caregiver, look at the Safe Child policy. And that little,
Yeah.
just a little bit of extra context, it wouldn't be overlapping, but it would kind of just be saying, this is what this other policy does.
Yeah, so because most people would be expecting a children's room policy to say something about, what's allowed in here in terms of behavior or safety. And this is a little, once again, it's sort of, I know we're trying to be gentle in our language, but you can be gentle to the point of being sort of obscure and sometimes a little more direct language.
I'm not sure we need more. I think the italicized is enough. Personally, if we want to move it up to make it a little more, or maybe unitalicize it to make it a little more clear, I worry about, not necessarily redundancy, because that's not what you're saying, but having lots of policies that are broken out that I don't think need to be covering the same topics, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know that any of our patrons are going on the website and trying to read the children policies before they use the children.
Well, they've talked about having it posted in the room.
Sure, but I'm just saying, like, we can have both of these policies posted in the room. But no one is going to read the children's room policy before using the children's room. And so I don't think it's doing any work.
I'm not sure that's a reason to not, just
I'm
because
tempted-
we think nobody's gonna read it, it doesn't mean that.
I'm tempted to agree with Rob. reference to these other policies are sort of ancillary, but the children's room policy seems to deserve a specific brief reference, at least, to the safe child policy. You mentioned some sort of sentence or paragraph that, I think that does deserve to be referred to somehow in what's the children's room policy.
I think the reason why maybe, and again, I agree, I don't think many people are reading this before they come in. Some people might, others may not. But the safe child policy, you wouldn't immediately understand what it encompasses based on the description. The appropriate patron behavior policy, I know exactly what that is. Computer and internet policy, clear as day. Safe child policy might be a bunch of different things. So maybe my thought would just be, again,
Why do we have
add a
two
little bit of-
policies? Does it make sense?
Because
Just thinking out loud for the
because
safe child policy, does that apply out?
It does, it applies to the library, correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm fine with adding an explicit one sentence reference.
Parents and caretakers being responsible for monitoring their children.
Parents or caregivers responsible for children under 10 as per the safe child policy.
Yeah, that's fine.
I want to look at the safe child policy again, figure out what that's going to summarize. Maybe that was it.
And I think that was the thing that we were most worried about getting there as well, as who's responsible for these kids.
Yeah.
I know that there have been issues in the past around unattended children, which is why we had that in the safe child policy. But yeah, maybe a cross-reference.
Yeah. I mean, we have a bolded section, center paragraph in the safe child policy that could be the excerpt, right?
Yeah.
And you could just say, we could add, literally copy and paste, children between the ages of 0 to 9 must be directly supervised by a responsible person, age 13 and up, who is under a parent, guardian, or designated caregiver, as outlined in the safe child
That's what I
policy.
was suggesting. We
Yeah.
refer to the
That
policy.
sounds nice and clear.
So use exactly that sentence from the safe child policy and put it after the first paragraph.
You can put it
I
right,
don't know, maybe the final paragraph.
Preceding the final paragraph that's in italics.
Right.
yeah, that could work.
Okay.
It's literally just that sentence, and then as per the safe child policy.
Those young children, your children feel safe now.
I will say I've never read rules before going into another children's room. But maybe I will now.
Right. You're not allowed to sit in the rocking chair.
That's how they get
Now that
you.
you don't have to worry about that guy at the rock.
Exactly. You might be a library trustee if you read the policies before you read the library.
And then just coming back to the last sentence on the second to last paragraph, the storytime room and craft snack room are for programming, for library programming use only. Is that sufficient, or do we need to,
That I find more confusing.
okay,
Library use and library programming.
Well, the programming suggests that you're not allowed in there unless there's an event going on, right?
Right.
Obviously, we know in our parlance that the library program has a broader definition, but that's not normal, that's jargon.
yes.
Yeah.
Use the word like activities, does that soften it,
I
or
think
is
that
it more
you have to
confusing?
have the negative in there. What's not, what
Can
is
you-
not allowed?
Just because I don't know actually what it's used for, like, is it just sometimes just open for like people to go in there and like have their kids have their snacks, like in between, like
Yeah,
browsing?
exactly. Yeah, the parents and their caregivers and children have their whatever midday snack.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's open it's open when the library is open
Mhm.
to be used
By patrons,
by patrons.
but
I
not
guess the
for-
question, so if that's the case, should it be something like this, craft snack room is available for use when the children's, not good at this, when the children's room is open, except when being used for library programming, and that way, like, and then, because that would then also imply that if it's open all the time, other people can't use it for their own program.
Wait, what about like general patron use and may not be reserved?
I think the main thing that we're trying to convey here is that people can't rent it out for their birthday parties or for having
Probably
programs.
just need to say that.
That's probably a good idea, just to, I think what
But then
happens is
there's-
that we're trying to be so generous and kind, and sometimes it just has to be right there and saying, hey, look, you can do this, but you can't do that, and have a wonderful day.
It's actually being more expansive in terms of what you can do by just saying what you can't do, because then you can do anything else. Galen,
How about just saying it's library, story time and craft snack room are not available from outside activity rooms, something like that. In other words, there
Private.
can't be an outside group coming in.
Which makes perfectly good sense.
like
Outside.
private reservations, maybe?
Yeah, because.
Private is
Yeah,
Privates are good.
Private.
Private reservation.
Private reservations, yes. Thank you, Gail.
It's very
as usual.
simple, very
Yeah.
basic, and it conveys what you're trying to say.
Without being,
So just to,
That'd be
the
really
story
bad.
time room and craft or snack room are not available for private reservations.
Yeah, I like it.
Sandra?
That's good.
All right. All right. And
takes us
then
a minute, but we get there.
the italicized things we want to keep. And then right before that, we want to point out this sentence, children between the ages of 0 and 9 must be directly supervised by a responsible person age 13 and up, who is either a parent, guardian, or designated caregiver as per Safe Child policy.
You may want to say as provided as in the Safe Child.
It's fine.
Or as described, compared to as per.
Yeah, that might be a little bit more colloquial in a good way.
Would it be also good just to say that library staff are not responsible? Put that in there, just so that they, to reiterate it as.
Is that in the child's policy? There.
Safe child.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't know.
But you
that
can,
we
you
read
can
that
say
much.
that, but it's
Already.
good to make sure that they, if they don't understand it, they refer to that policy, but you have to refer them sometimes. So,
I don't think the Chase Safe Child, I don't have it in front of me, does it say that library staff is not responsible?
Yes.
It
I think
does,
that's
okay.
where it did say that.
I don't know that you need to repeat it, but.
I would, I think what we did, what we landed on that whole thing is good enough, and it's encompassed by saying parents are responsible. But it's more explicitly said in the child safety policy, so.
Any further discussion on the children's room policy? Great. Well, we don't need to vote on that today. So we can come back to a revised draft of that at the October meeting and vote on it at that time. That brings us on to old business. This is a discussion, not a voting item, for a draft of the teen room policy. Diana, do you have any update on that, or should we wait until Rob is back?
Rob just shared that based on the discussion from the last meeting, we should revisit the teen policy at a later time.
Okay. And I certainly think that that's a policy that bears, careful thought, especially because it's a very large space in the library and very visible. And also, we just don't know exactly how it'll be used yet. So the good thing is we've got plenty of time to consider that and hammer out the details before we open up the beautiful new space.
Is this the same, because I wasn't able to attend last month, but I did watch it. And is this the conversation about whether it's locked and all that sort of stuff?
Yes, and what the ages are and, who can use it.
I wasn't here. If I can offer just a few impressions from having watched that, because I think I agreed with, I was surprised also by the notion that there's gonna be sort of a locked area. It was not consistent with my imagination. Whether it's locked or whether there's someone at the desk policing, that wasn't the sense that I had of the space. Somebody talked about seeing how other libraries handle it. I acknowledge the concern and the interest in preserving this to be a space for teams. I don't know that, you know, you need to start off so dramatically in terms of you can wait to see if it is a problem. I would have thought that perhaps some sort of signage, you know, at the entrance, that this is team policy, please respect that this is, you know, that would probably, you know, perhaps be enough to have people not using the space that's specifically reserved for teams. So I shared your uncertainty about it, but I had some sort of resistance to thinking about it being a locked, protected space. I would have hoped that people could be free to explore the library, but at the same time recognize, based on the information provided for the team space, you know, please respect that. We appreciate your consideration. But I don't know that would, you know, if that's enough, you don't need to worry about things like locking the doors and policing the entrance. But those are my impressions. I wasn't here.
On your point, Jay, about looking at what other libraries do. So Michael and I had a chance to meet with Rob and just talk about it a little bit.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I have as an action item, I know Aaron is doing this as well on the staff side, is to review what other libraries are doing. So I've started compiling it from towns in our area that have dedicated teen rooms, and obviously no two rooms are the same. If you have a teen room that is buried in the depths of your library and it's not very large space, then that might have a different kind of policy than one that is kind of front and center. But hopefully for the next meeting, I'll have that spreadsheet ready, and it'll show things like, is it locked during
Are
library
you
hours?
calling them, or you're like visiting Newton or Wellesley, or?
I'm visiting their websites. Because thankfully libraries are very thoughtful and always post the policies, and the policies are usually very detailed, much like ours. So
I would say one issue with what you're saying about our policy being very detailed is we're actually pulling a lot of details out of our policies and making internal procedures that aren't going to be available.
right, perhaps not that level of detail,
Right.
but they clearly spell out who can use the room and when it's open. So what I'm gonna try to do is get a chart where it'll say, is it locked during library hours? If so, during which hours? Which grades are let in? And I noticed that varies widely. Sometimes it might be high school only, sometimes 7th and 8th grade, sometimes 6th grade as well. Depends on library. And then also the notion of before school gets out, are all patrons allowed to use the space, or is it for browsing only and just for team use during those hours? And there seem to be different approaches that
In
your
other
libraries
words,
take
during
in that as
school
well.
hours, when they literally wouldn't be in the space.
Right. And there are different approaches.
Have we given that any thought?
Well, there are other schools that have different holidays and homeschool.
With Needham Public Schools, you have half days where you're gonna have on a Wednesday, you're gonna have probably 200 plus kids coming to the library. It would probably become the new hangout space as opposed to being CVS or Walgreens. Then you have patrons that are in the Minuteman network that come from other places, from within the network. Then you have people that are homeschooled. Then you have other people who are just like regular patrons coming in, looking and trying to see it. So I mean, there's not going to be an easy answer, and I think that's what we're all aware of. But the other part of it is that I'm concerned. I think my biggest concern was, I put it this way to the people who approached me about it after they listened to it on the meeting. It was like this. I said, I bought a steak, but I'm not allowed to eat it. So meaning we paid for this, but we're not allowed to use it. And I'm thinking about when we go for our next level of funding in our 4-phase, what would that say to the people who are already loading up their guns to shoot potential things down for us? Are we, by doing certain things, are we really putting ourselves and our full project in jeopardy? So I think it is a broader discussion. I'm glad that Rob and Aaron are doing some of that statistical data. I'm trying to navigate people, and I'm sure there's been people who have said things to you because they know that you're trustees. And, you know, it doesn't have to, I agree with Jay, until you actually have a problem, we don't need to make one in some respect. And I think we can be flexible enough. And hopefully we're flexible enough to recognize that it is, says on our doors, Needham Free Public Library.
I do feel like we, you know, when we, several of us are town meeting members, Michael, you were at town meeting, that it wasn't presented to the town as a locked space. And I think it's worth our discussing the possibility of during school hours, when the student routines are not going to be here, allowing adult patrons to, you know, we could give some parameters to browse or work, study quietly in the space. I would like to feel that adult patrons have some access to using that space during non-school hours. So that would be my thought.
I was hoping that they could come in, use the space, and potentially just an hour before school let out, if it's at 2 or 45 minutes, something, if there was something in there, you had enough time to have somebody from staff come in and say, you know, time to leave kind of thing. And if there was any kind of cleanup, it would be enough time for any part of the janitorial staff to make, if they were needing to do some cleaning. It didn't necessarily because of the patrons, but just maybe tidy up the space so that when the students come in, everybody knows after 2:43?
2:44 every
Okay.
day, we have between 50 to 70 kids walking right through our doors.
Yes.
They're here till 9.
So, yes.
But that's a long stretch of time from 9 in the morning to 2:44, where we, you know, we could make it available
I will
in
make
some
people
limited.
know that there is open campus out
Right.
at that high school
That was the other thing.
for the upper grades, and they do come down here during that time period. And use our resources.
Okay, so you're saying
It's good to-
there could be some teams in
There
here.
could be some teams.
Okay.
I don't want to believe this conversation, because I think we should really have a focused conversation on it when we have the information that you're going to provide. I'm really appreciative that you're going to do
Yes.
that outreach and see what other libraries are doing. I also want to note that one of the things we want for the success of the space is for the teams to feel ownership of it. And so, you know, I hope that however we end up deciding this, that there's a sense that we're engaging with some subset of the teams about how it makes them feel in terms of that sense of ownership, you know, because perhaps they're fine with it, you know, in terms of an open policy outside of school, you know, during school hours or whatever. But I want them to feel that sense of okayness with it and to have kind of said that, because I don't want that to erode their sense of ownership over that space.
That makes sense.
Any further commentary on that policy before we move on? Right, we will revisit that in October. Rob is here and I'll work on collecting the peer library information in the interim.
Can I just say this? Is there something that maybe what Earhart was asking, is there something we might need to put out to the teams to get an idea of what they're thinking about that space and how? Because you're talking about inclusion of their thoughts.
Yeah.
So is that what you're asking?
I mean, I defer to Aaron right?
Okay.
And her engagement, I know that there was a group of team volunteers in the library that were doing some of that shared governance work in the past, and that work was put on pause. So I'm wondering what version of that could be spun up.
I believe once we have a new team room, she wants to revive it.
Yeah.
At this point, it was. So,
Right, but there might be those folks, if they're still in the community, might be great folks to seed a conversation with
Right.
those who show up in the afternoon about some of these things.
And I would fully expect that regardless of whatever policy we settle on, we're going to be adopting a revised policy in 6 or 12 months afterwards.
Yes.
Because we just won't know how the room is going to be used until it's there and it's being used. And there will be issues that we didn't contemplate. But that's the good thing about these policies is that we do get the ability to layer on or cut back later if we need to. So careening ahead in the agenda, we go all the way to the Art and Exhibits Committee report.
Yes. Well, since we don't have a gallery for the next 6 months, it's been that active, but we do have the DAR exhibit there this month in the 2 cases that they actually did a beautiful job. It's
they really did. They had fun doing it. You should have seen all the stuff they brought in to put in the case.
yeah,
I had to sort of pare them back and said, well, maybe you don't want to stuff it so much.
yeah. I mean, it's very charming and it's about the Constitution. It's not political, and so I think they did a very nice job with that. And going forward, we would like to fill the cases for the next several months. I did some outreach today to a terrarium, a plant artist who Rob McLean and I saw at Needham Open Studios, and we have a few other people that we're going to do a little outreach to see if we can at least keep some art in the cases.
That's cool.
While construction's going on, but we don't have anything to vote on tonight.
Well, thank you, Kate, for that update. Next, going to the MacIver series and Michael.
Yes, if you guys would take I'm gonna use these two. If you just pass those, just so everybody can see. This is the very first one, and I think you guys did get a copy of the schedule of these events. So the first person up, Gay Ellen did a fantastic job of making that background look special and nice and clean, so that Alyssa Kazin is coming in. She's going to do a hands-on, and she may have 2 practitioners. I asked her to make sure that she got a chance to come here to see the physical size of the room. And what her whole thing is really helping people understand and deal with their stress, but also find methodologies to release it, but also find ways to talk about it. So I will be making sure that first responders from my blue family and red family from Needham Police and Needham Fire are here, as well as members from the community council, the senior center, and just making sure that there's a number of people here. So for this, because it's in queue, and Gay Ellen graciously has it up on the website. So
Just
it's
went
in the
live
newsletter.
tonight.
Just
Okay.
right now. So we're in queue, and had a long talk with the thank you, with the Reynolds brothers. I said, you gentlemen are putting me in great danger with Gay. And I said, I can't do this. I said, I want to survive. And so they're getting their stuff in. They are very, very busy. And one of my, as I said to you guys before, strategically, I wanted them to come so that when we start to do our stuff for our phase 2, they will be coming back. I want to have them back because they are actually preparing to be on Good Morning America in the next day or so. So I just want, and they're worldwide known authors, and they're doing all kinds of digital kinds of things. And I think we're just in a really great position. and trying to position ourselves in a good way to bring these resources, these type of people, this type of notoriety, and let people know that what we're going to do is authentic. It's authentic, and we're really thinking outside the box, because this is the type of people that we're trying to attract to our MacGyver series. So with that being said, those people are all set. Jimmy Myers is all set. And it's just, I'm happy that round one is coming up in October. And I just hope for the best, and everybody's invited. And like I said it's a little something for everyone. So I wanted to try to make it as eclectic as I possibly could, and stay within the same tradition of the people who were before me. But I'm excited, and
Can you tell you that Earhart and his wife just registered?
Hey, it's up.
thank you. But I think this is going to be a lot of, I'm really trying to make it something where these people coming in will come in again, and we are really building community and building relationships. It's just not somebody coming in and talking, but it's something that we are getting tools for our own development, but also sharing those with everyone else. And I'm all set with it, and I can't wait for it to start happening.
Thanks, Michael.
Thank you.
Great stuff.
So excited for that.
See you there.
So moving on to the next item, we've got an update on the Friends from Jay.
I don't think they had a meeting in August, so I don't have anything to report. There's a program committee meeting this Friday morning that I'll go to. We'll start talking about plans for speakers over the next year, and I think there's a Friends board meeting on Monday of next week.
Thank you, Jay. Earhart, do you have any update from the foundation?
Similarly, we haven't met since June. Our next meeting is September the 17th, next week. So I'll be able to report on that during our next meeting in October.
Thank you. And that brings us somewhat dangerously early to the trustee comments. Do we have any comments?
Thank you to Diana for filling in.
Yeah. Short notice, that's good.
I'll only say that, I walk around the library pretty much every weekend, and I've been immensely impressed about how much work has gone on to move things around. And I can only imagine how complicated it is. But you see it, and I thank everyone involved with the library for doing all that hard work, the planning, the moving, figuring it out. And it's tied in also, of course, the inventory and meeting and art, so there's a lot going on, and very much appreciate everything that you and staff are doing.
Thank you for the trustees' support, and the community's been very supportive. Our staff have been really great with being patient and excited about the future teen room, so we're in a good place. Good, yeah.
All right, well, hearing no further comments, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thanks, everybody.
Thank you.